This is the facelifted third generation Hyundai Tucson. What's new? And should you buy one?
From the outside and inside, not much has changed. From the outside, Tucson is still a very elegant car and it looks much better than the two previous generations, one of which was known in Europe as the iX35. I like the large grille, the BMW-esque sideline and the short back. Since we're in the back, I also noticed the double exhaust tip is asymmetric, which makes it look crooked. It was the same before the facelift, so it's no accident. Inside, also little has changed. There is now a larger infotainment display, so central air vents were moved underneath it. There is a 360-degree camera option, and some of the buttons were repositioned from around the gear shifter to the panel over the driver's left knee. But that's all cosmetics.
More about the Hyundai Tucson interior in my pre-facelift model review, which you can see by clicking a link in the description or somewhere around here. Unless, of course, you're watching me on a smart TV or a game console, which may not necessarily recognize YouTube cards which pop up here. That's why we YouTubers keep pointing to things on the screen that some of you don't see and you think, oh my god, these guys are dumb. Well, anyway, there's a card somewhere around here, or a little eye. Click that. Anyway, one thing that hasn't changed is the quality of plastics, and that clanking noise you may have heard are a couple of coins, some change which you may normally keep in your car, and these will rattle on every bump. So really, Hyundai, I mean, you've introduced a couple of changes like this nice screen here, but you couldn't improve the quality of plastics. Anyway, the real changes in this car are in the drivetrain. So let's buckle up, mind the microphone, and let's go for a drive.
All the engines now meet the Euro 6D temp norm. The engines were modified or withdrawn. There are still two 1.6 petrol engines, naturally aspirated and turbocharged, producing 131 and 177 horsepower respectively, manual or 7-speed DCT, front or all-wheel drive. The 1.7 diesel has been replaced with a 1.6 diesel, producing 136 horsepower instead of the earlier two variants, 115 and 141 horsepower. And there is the range-topping 2-liter diesel, which in some markets may be available only as a 48-volt mild hybrid.
Which is the car we have here. This so-called mild hybrid system is made up of an 0.44 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, a mild hybrid starter generator, a converter, and an inverter. Don't ask me what an inverter and what these are, because I have no bloody clue. Anyway, upon acceleration, because this is the important bit, you get a bit of a boost from the battery. The engine gets a bit of a boost, and when you're coasting or decelerating, basically, the battery is recharged again. So the system recuperates kinetic energy. Now, in theory, the car should use up to 7% less diesel, and CO2 emissions should be less than 150 grams per kilometer, which in some countries may significantly reduce your road tax. Now, in real life, it's hard to tell whether the refreshed Tucson is more frugal than the pre-facelift Tucson, thanks to the mild hybrid or thanks to the new 8-speed automatic gearbox, because this car has an 8-speed automatic instead of the 6-speed automatic in the previous one. And from my experience with Hyundai Kia models, I can tell you that this 8-speed in place of a 6-speed makes a big difference.
Compared to the pre-facelift model with an ordinary diesel drivetrain, the new car uses around half a liter per 100 kilometers less, but I still averaged above 8 liters combined. I expect half a liter is mainly thanks to the gearbox, because the mild hybrid system looks good mainly in the brochure. By the way, as of 2019, a 1.6 diesel mild hybrid is also available.
I see two clues why the mild hybrid system could be an 11th hour decision. First of all, the 48-volt badges are crooked. This place down there was clearly not designed to have a badge placed there. And the second thing is in the instrument cluster here. That's the second clue, and that's the energy monitor. So it's probably the simplest, the least sophisticated energy monitor system I've seen in a car in my entire career, in a hybrid car that is. Basically, for a split second it shows you that it's boosting, and for a split second it shows you that it's recuperating, and well, there's nothing else to show really.
Because unlike other mild hybrids, such as the new Audis or Mercedes EQ models, Hyundai Tucson 48-volt mild hybrid cannot coast at higher speeds with the engine turned off. The only noticeable benefit is that stop and start system shuts the engine off a bit earlier as the car rolls to a stop. Otherwise, Hyundai Tucson gets all the current range of safety systems and driver aids like collision warning with emergency braking, lane keeping assist or driver attention monitoring. This car also gets a 360-degree camera and adaptive cruise control.
Something that hasn't changed, and that's good actually, is the steering. Now, I recall from the pre-facelift Tucson review that the steering was really fast, really responsive, and it's the same thing here. I just got into this car from the most boring car in the world, which is Skoda Karoq, and I felt this car might actually be great to drive, despite the diesel engine sound, because there's just no way around it. I mean, this thing sounds terrible, but at least the steering is good.
Hyundai Tucson can also be equipped with all-wheel drive, like this test car. In the past, it would simply bear a four-wheel drive badge, but now the all-wheel drive system is called H-Track for Hyundai Traction. Like before the facelift, it's an automatic system designed mainly to improve on-road handling, but there is a button to sort of lock it into a 50-50 torque split. I wouldn't venture too far into the wild though, as ground clearance is only 17 centimeters. One more change I didn't mention before is the boot volume, which is down to 459 liters from 502 due to the mild hybrid battery. There is still space for the boot cover under the floor, or you can secure it over the floor as well. Hyundai Tucson prices start at just below 23,000 euro. This fully loaded 2-liter diesel 48-volt mild hybrid will set you back almost 44,000.
As you can see, the changes are cosmetic, and in my opinion, the hybrid system is more of an emissions compliance ruse than a real benefit. I think the 1.6-liter turbo petrol engine is more usable in everyday city situations. Well, unless, of course, you do a lot of motorway miles. In that case, a diesel is the one to go for. And I can't stand the hard and loud plastics around the cockpit. But I do like how the Hyundai Tucson looks. And you? Let me know in the comment section below. Share, subscribe, join me for more reviews every Friday and sometimes on Tuesdays as well. So hit that bell icon, which is somewhere around here, I guess, under the screen. Yes, under the window, under the player. This is where the bell icon is, so that you get all the notifications every time I post. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.